Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone. Hope your week has been fabulous. We are back with another Wine Wednesday open chat. So, any questions you have, feel free to put them in the comment section. The only place I can't see, oh my gosh, my sea dragon's eating my head. Oh well. The only place that I cannot see your comments is if you are on Instagram. And it probably looks funny to you if you're on Instagram because you probably see Holly and then two half heads of me and Cheryl. It's because of the formatting. Still trying to find a workaround. We want to make sure we get to Instagram, but the best place to be is YouTube. So if you want to watch the video instead of just listening, head on over to YouTube, search Seahorse Whisperer. And I also want to say we're only 50 subscribers away from 3,000. And just a reminder, we're going to do a giveaway when we get a little bit closer. And when we hit that 3,000 mark, the winner has to be a subscriber on YouTube. So if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. And only other announcement I really have is that my beautiful wine glass, I'm too afraid to drink. I'm too afraid to break it. Every Wine Wednesday wine glass I've had, special made for me, I always break them, but it's going to sit here so you guys can still see its beauty while we're live. Anyhow, okay, I'm done rambling. Ray had a game tonight, so he won't be here, but I've got Cheryl and Holly with me as usual. And Holly, do you want to start us off by telling us your news about Thing 2?
Yes. So I've had Thing 2 in the hospital tank for quite a while, been treating him for a bacterial infection. He had a little hole in his body and his tail got pretty bad. So he has been in the hospital now. We're going on probably about 3 months. And so in the hospital tank right now, he's being treated with Canaplex and Sulfaplex in the water. And then I started doing topical treatments with a new product that Heather found, for Seahorse Corner on here and sent to me to try. And I was really impressed with it. I'm amazed at the progress he's made, and I've been sharing that with Cheryl. She's been watching too, and just
the difference is huge.
It's I've never seen something work so fast.
Wow.
So I ordered some, and this is what it is. It's called Debride. It's actually a topical medication for koi and goldfish.
Wow.
And it comes in a little tube like this.
Nice.
It's thick. It's like the consistency. I think I talked a little bit about it last week. It's like the consistency of rubber cement almost, or snot, I like to say. It's really thick. So what I've been doing is I apply Alamax first, which is a liquid with allicin, which is from garlic. So that's a really strong antibacterial. So I put a drop of that on him, and then I put this on top of it, and it stays on really well. It sticks to him. It's really sticky. So I was so impressed with it that I actually called them today because they came with a little printed up instruction sheet, and it's actually got their address, phone number, everything on here. So I called and actually talked to someone. She answered the phone. Her name's Kimberly, and she says, yeah, it's antibiotic, and it also debrides necrotic tissue.
Awesome.
And so they have lots of testimonials from koi. It's got like a 90% success rate for treating bacterial holes in koi. And she knows nothing about seahorses, she said, but she was very happy to hear how well
we're going to try. We're going to try to get her to. Holly's going to put me in touch with her and see if we can't get her to come on a Wine Wednesday to talk more about it. Didn't you say she had? Because you called to see, what was your question when you called her?
I didn't like her. And really, what my question was is in the directions. It says apply a thin film of debride ointment to the infected area 2 times per day for 2 days. treatment period may be extended for an additional 2 days if on day 3 of the treatment period a significant reduction in redness of the wound is not observed. If unable to treat the fish twice a day, then treat once a day for 4 days. And that's all it said. So I'm like, why only 4 days? And then it kind of dawned on me it's because they're talking about koi. And it does mention, it says, remember that handling is a form of stress and excessive handling can worsen the situation. So when I called her, I said, well, did you say that just because it's koi and it's stressful to handle them? And she said, yes. She said, because normally the treatment works on koi in about 2 days.
Right. But you said that, didn't she have a friend that brought her one? And
Yeah, she had a friend bring her a koi, she said, that was full of holes and was in really bad shape. And she treated that koi for 30 days. And it was all right. And she said the ointment's safe to use for however long you need to use it. The concern is like in koi, they're fish, they're flopping around it's not the same as treating the seahorse. So that was why they said only the 2 to 4 days, but you can use it as long as you need to. And I can try to share my screen and see and share pictures of the progress thing too.
Yeah.
Hang on, feel free to, we're going to share the pictures. I want to say thank you so much, Salty Reef, for the super chat. Don't forget, guys, if you hear something that helps you, or if we answer a question that really helps you, or you just like us, you can always super chat. And when you do that, it helps us make more videos, helps us do more with the channel. Okay, now I'm done. I just wanted to thank Salty, and I do want to talk later about Francis, see how that's going. But go ahead, Holly, share your pictures, please.
Okay, so let's see if I can figure it out.
Down at the bottom, it's the thing with the red line through it.
Trying to find it. There it is. Okay.
And you probably want to have the picture open first, so that.
Okay, I believe I do behind this screen. Oh, here we go. So we want a window. Oh, here we go. Microsoft Edge tab. Select a tab.
We probably should have practiced this before.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Well, see, I told Holly early on, I said, what this seahorse really needs is to have all the necrotic, the dead tissue removed, because it's feeding other negative organisms that we don't want. And I told her, I said, if this was a dog or a cat or something like that, I would have gone in and removed all the necrotic tissue, put massive amount of antibiotic ointment on it, and wrapped it in a waterproof bandage. But obviously you can't do that with a seahorse.
But now we found this.
And it's Peter G from OR. He actually has advised using this med.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, there it goes. So this is a video of today.
Are you playing it?
I don't know where to play it from. It says I'm
play
sharing
it on the actual. Play it on the actual Facebook, wherever you're.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, here we go.
If it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tail's still got a problem, but he can live with the missing part of his tail.
Cheryl, do you still think that little teeny part at the end is going to come off? It looks like it's healing.
It is. It's just, I'm hoping, I've got my fingers crossed that it will heal completely, but I'm just trying to prepare Holly in case it doesn't.
Right. Gotcha. Did you happen to putting the stuff on? That would be probably hard to do, wouldn't it?
No, because I only have 2 hands.
Right.
Yeah, so this is after I applied the ointment, I believe. And I don't know, it's interesting on here. I don't know how to share from my desktop because I have
Okay,
picture
well,
my desktop. So
hang on, let me close
of
this because
before.
we're seeing your Wine Wednesday message. So let me close that. And then if you go stop sharing, so hit stop sharing. And then if you go to share again, if it's on your desktop, let me think. Let me try. Hang on, I'm going to try
Yeah,
something real
because
quick.
it gives me entire screen window or edge tab.
So, and you have.
So if I think I know. So if I open my file explorer.
So I'm going to
Oh,
try
here
to do
we
something
go.
real quick just to make sure I'm telling you
That
right.
wound was huge and opened just a
Yeah,
few
here
days
we
ago.
go.
So if you open the picture and you hit window and then you share, that's how you do it.
There we go. Okay, so I open the picture. Now, how do I get back to Wine Wednesday? Oh, here we go.
It's confusing.
Well, because I have to go back and forth between the two. So let's see. Entire screen.
Hey, while she's doing that, just to let y'all know, I'm wearing my Dragons Are Real shirt.
Oh,
And
here
all these
we go.
shirts will be back
Found it.
on the website soon. So go ahead. Okay, let me help
So
you
there
share.
it is. So can you see the hole?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And if you notice, it's more than twice the size there because you
Yep.
can look at where the spines are and extend it all the way to between the spines in all directions. You can see the hole in the wound, which is no longer there.
Yeah.
And you can see the necrotic tissue on both the tail and on the torso has decreased dramatically.
Yeah, that the bottom. Oh my
So
gosh, I can't believe if he keeps his tail, that will be amazing because that bottom
yeah.
part, it's eaten all the way through. What did
And
we
it's
say this was, your
crazy.
Amima?
He still uses it. He still uses his tail.
Yeah.
Let me get the other picture up and
Okay.
show you the recent one. So this is 2 days ago. The difference. You guys still there?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we're
Okay. Did that work? You can see that?
No.
You got stop. You have to stop sharing and then restart the whole
And then
sharing.
share again.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
pain in the butt. But
All right. So
and while
we
she's
tried.
pulling it up, Cheryl, what did you diagnose this as? I can't remember. Was it uranema or what did you think it was?
You mean the lesion?
Yes.
It's
Or is it just a
it was really hard to
injury?
say. It could be Vibrio, it could be Michael. So many of these, when you look at them, especially when there's that much damage, it's really hard to. It's like Vibrio is pretty easy because you get white spots that are not perfectly round, but light discolorations on the integument.
No. Okay, sorry. I was reading Salty Reef was letting us know that he's had some personal things come up and he's leaving the hobby and YouTube. Hey, contact me on the site, Salty. I mean, if when you have time. I hope all is well with your family. And yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you come back. I know you had to leave once, but
That's
I'm bummed. Okay, I'm going to share her picture. Go ahead. Oh wow, and that's when is that?
So this is 2 days ago. So that's the
Amazing.
difference between January 2nd and the 17th, which 2 days ago. So what's that? 2 weeks?
Man.
Yeah, I mean that's actually that the debris made a huge difference very quickly.
I can't believe that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to show you. This is the day I started using DeBride. So let me go to that. Go back to sharing again.
Yeah, it takes a minute. Oh, I'm so bummed about Salty. Gosh.
I can't believe that Seahorse is still alive, to be honest with you.
I know.
I thought I was going to lose him.
He was in such bad shape.
Sure.
Now, and real quick, Real quick, I want to say one more thing about Salty because I know he's getting ready to go. I'm really, really bummed because remember he was the one that was going to do pre-treated seahorse, captive bred, pre-treated
Yeah.
macros and all that. So we're going to keep crossing fingers you come back. But back to the seahorse. Sorry. What was I going to ask? Oh, I'm just shocked that the tail didn't come off.
So this is it's January 11th. So this is 1 week ago.
Yeah, and you can still see
this is the day I
the
started
holes.
using the debride.
You can see the holes through the integument, or they're surrounded by the necrotic, the dead tissue.
And so, Cheryl, what you're saying, or either one of you, so the reason that the debride is so good is because it doesn't let that dead tissue feed whatever organism's hurting it.
When you debride something, what you're doing is removing the dead tissue.
Oh, removing, got it.
And then treating it so it does not return, and therefore you're eliminating the bacteria that are protozoans that are basically causing more harm and more damage as they continue to feed off of it.
Yeah. And Holly, this seahorse thing too is a fighter though, right? I mean, like he never stopped eating. He's been in his hospital tank for a while. But what all is he in?
Yeah. He's in a 10-gallon hospital tank. And I change out 5 gallons a day and put his medicine in, the antibiotics in the water.
Right.
And then I'm doing the topical treatments. And there's days he's getting his appetite back, but there's been days that he didn't want to eat or he didn't want to eat much, but he's always kind of eaten, like he hasn't gone days without eating. He might eat a little bit on one day and a lot the next day. And so, I mean, he probably had and has, internal stuff going on as well. So I tried not to worry about the not eating so much because I know they can go, I've seen it, they can go a long time without eating. So as long as he's eating a little bit, I'm like, okay, he's going to be, okay, as long as he's eating, that means he wants to live. I'll keep going. So he's starting to eat more now. He's starting to be full of it. He's starting to swim around the tank more and start thinking about trying to get out the last couple days.
He wants his friends, right?
He's starting to feel better. Well, I have a heater in the tank because it gets really cold here. So there's a thing that I use. It's a tank separator. And it's in there blocking off the heater so he can't get back there. And so today, especially, he's been really curious about what's behind that barrier. He keeps trying to look, so I know he's feeling better because thinking about other things, he's not.
For some people that are watching this that may not know, this was a seahorse that Holly raised and sold. And the person that bought him gave this one and another one, seahorse, to someone else. And then the female passed away. And then Holly agreed to take this male back, not knowing that he was basically
exposed,
a wreck.
Yeah. Well, and that's the danger of, I mean, and Holly, was careful with people she sold her seahorses to and, told them exactly what they needed to do, but then he resold it. You know what I mean? So it's the danger of someone getting seahorses before they know what they're doing. Come to Wine Wednesday, y'all. Ask questions. We'll tell you. But go ahead, Holly.
And basically, the thing with them was, well, he figured out after the fact, he had grand plans. He even wanted to raise seahorses and didn't know, he had visions of selling seahorses in Fry, and he bought 4 from me and then figured out how hard they were to take care of. Had other stuff go on, health stuff and things. Sure. So he couldn't take care of them, gave them to a friend. By that time, he'd lost 2. When she contacted me, one of the 2 had passed. This was the only one she had left, and she was trying her best with it. But where we live, we have extreme temperatures,
Right.
both cold and hot. So she told me she knew she was supposed to keep the water below 74, but she didn't have a chiller and she had to go to work, during the day. So she'd try to load up the tank with ice water bottles and fans, everything to try to keep the tank cool. But her house was getting too hot. She couldn't keep the temperatures down. And when she brought the Seahorse to me, the water he was in was 82
Oh,
degrees.
geez. Yeah.
And she didn't know that they had to eat frozen mysis shrimp.
What was she feeding him?
She couldn't always get it, so she was feeding frozen brine shrimp.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so he didn't have the greatest diet, and I don't think he has any seahorse diseases per se, because the only seahorses they had were the ones that I sold them, and they weren't kept with other fish. It was a seahorse only tank. So I think the bacterial issue is all from poor
Water
water
quality. And also, just another thought. Also, did he use live rock?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he went all artificial because he saw what I did and liked it. And I explained to him, about all that. So I think they were kept,
The right way, just
in
probably the
but just
temperatures and
yeah.
Yeah,
and water quality.
Yeah.
the problem though is somebody isn't really familiar with a lot of the hitchhikers and parasites and stuff. It's like
Mhm.
I got one. I pulled up a photo. Somebody was desperate. In their fry tank, they had all these little well, basically they were hydroids.
Yep.
Hydroids.
And my immediate response is you need to treat them immediately with Panicure. And I gave her the link of what to buy and everything. I mean, I'm talking. I don't think I've ever seen that many hydroids in one tank.
Oh
And
my
it
gosh.
was her fry tank.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I saw
Well,
that.
and
I
that's
saw
the
that.
other thing I was thinking, Holly, when you were talking, is that people always love the idea of raising little baby seahorses, but they have no idea how much work goes into it.
Yeah.
People that succeed
No,
are
they're hard.
yeah.
They're hard. No, and I even showed this guy because I was raising him at the time, and I showed him my stuff and all the brine shrimp and all that. But I think he was thinking, they were easier to keep alive. You could make so many and make so much money, and
Right.
Yep. It's a lot of labor and it's expensive to do. You don't really make money.
Yep, I know.
I found.
I've been doing this for a long time, and for me, I look at it as a labor of love. Bottom line.
And you're
Yes.
well, and you're also retired and have the funds to do it. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
Holly's right; it is expensive too. And we real quick, guys, not to jump topics here, but it's kind of related because we were talking about how thing two was eating, and Colby wants to know. Colby has a male seahorse that doesn't eat normally, in quotations. He goes in spurts, meaning one day he'll eat about 3 to 4 times, and then the next day he doesn't even want to eat. Any suggestions?
I have seahorses that do that.
I'm going to take that down, okay, Holly? If that's all right. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying, let me stop sharing this now. There we
If you
go.
have more to share, you can. I just thought we'd answer the question real quick.
No. I was just trying to figure out how to get back to normal here.
Right.
I have an orange female. I mean, she will take frozen. And this is one I've had for a while. But other days she's like, yeah, I don't want this crap.
Really?
But add her some live amphipods or mysid shrimp in there. She turns into this inconsummate hunter. She loves hunting live food. It's just her thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was gonna go ahead.
It cracks me up because she'll sit there and be hitched and put in the frozen, and she won't move. I mean, she just will completely ignore it. Add some live, and she turns into racehorse seahorse, trying to snick all of them at once. So part of
Gosh.
they're all different.
They well, and
They are, and you know what? I have noticed, but I've noticed it's a male, and my males are the ones that are like that. My females are pigs. They eat every meal served. My males will sometimes skip a meal or two, or show up late, or they're not really as into the food. My males are not. And I've learned, unless you see other symptoms, because there may be something wrong, there may be not. So if there's not anything else wrong and it's just the appetite thing, I've learned not to worry about it.
Yeah.
You
If
know,
they're pulling
they'll,
the,
as long as they're
yeah,
eating,
if they start pulling the,
they're
I'll get down there when I'm good and ready. I'm not worried about them. It's if they keep doing that, and again with a pregnant male, they may not come down and feed very
well,
often.
that's okay. I've got a couple of comments real quick, and I asked Chris if what his thoughts are on the question. But I personally have never had seahorses that went a whole day. I've seen them only eat, I've seen them skip a meal for whatever reason, but I've never had seahorses go a whole day without eating unless
No.
something was wrong.
No.
Just to be
Mhm.
serious.
Mhm.
However, you're saying that
Mhm.
they're doing it, like eating like a pig one day, not eating the next, eating like a pig the next day. Is that what you're saying? Like it keeps going like that? The other thing is, I would ask what Cheryl asked. Have there been any other changes? Like, was it a yellow seahorse that turned dark, or is it still acting completely normal in every other way? Just this feeding thing. The third is, I was thinking, and this is why I wanted Chris's thoughts on, because I was thinking about saying what Cheryl said about, well, why not add some live foods, because they'll chase those, and then at least they're getting their food, but that gets really expensive. And with some seahorses like hers, once you give them live foods, then they're kind of stubborn, and they're like, that's
Yeah.
all I want, so I
It-
wondered what Chris's thoughts were. But go
Yeah,
ahead,
it's
Cheryl.
not that she doesn't eat; it's that the way she attacks. I mean, everybody else is like, "I'm full. I just ate a bunch of frozen. I don't care about this live stuff." She'll sit there at the top of the tank. In fact, I think she's got my number, because then she knows if she doesn't come down and eat, then she's going to get live. But
So maybe don't do that.
They
That's
do.
wait, that's another good point for oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I already forgot the name. Colby. Is whoops, sorry. Here was the question. I'll show that instead. I forgot to show it. But the other thing is, are you feeding on a schedule? And I apologize. It's not that we don't want to give you a straight answer or a straight suggestion, but as Dan always says, it's one question leads to 50 more to diagnose the actual what's going on. Not saying there's a problem, but anyways, do you feed on a schedule? Because I find that really helps with seahorses eating, because then they know when they're supposed to come eat, and they know when the food will be there,
well,
etc.
yeah, they know at certain times of the day, or in my case, the lighting changes when I go to feed them, and they know when those lights change, when it gets brighter, food is going to be coming, and they're typically all over the tank, dancing around, waiting. But this one orange female, she just she's got my number. The other thing to keep in mind too is when males are pregnant, they're definitely going to hide more. They typically
Mm.
don't eat as much. And normally, what they'll do is about 3 days, usually about 3 days before they're about ready to deliver, they'll start coming out more. They'll start eating like a pig again, and they'll start dancing with the females and keep their pouch closed. And that,
Well, and Colby just said, I'm putting the comments up, but you can read it. But he usually just sticks to one spot and chills there all day. His coloration is nice. He doesn't show rapid breathing. He's been pregnant twice since he's got him. So that's a good question. Could he be pregnant? Because that's what I started to say it earlier, and then we got sidetracked. But that's the only time that I've ever seen seahorses go. Like, I've never seen a seahorse go a full day without eating. So that's the only concern that I have. But I have seen them skip quite a few meals, especially when they're pregnant.
yeah, the thing is, the males typically, when they're pregnant, they tend to stay hidden until they're getting very close to delivery. And the more pregnant they get, the more they tend to hide. And it's one of those things, if you sit down real quietly and don't move and watch them, they'll come out and eat. They're just not going to do it when everybody else is picking out around them.
I do
Yeah.
also have seahorses that won't eat in front of me. Like I have to walk away, and then you'll hear it snake, snake, you know. But Colby,
Thing too does that
so
because he's in the hospital and he doesn't like me watching him.
right. But Colby said the last time he was pregnant was 3 months ago. That's unusual to me too. Once my seahorses start having babies, they usually don't stop. But Cheryl, they do take a break, don't they?
Yes, they will.
Okay, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But
that's
they've
not.
had several broods back to back. What's happening is that basically they're deleting their amino acids, and they no longer can support carrying fry. And they will literally back off and go say, I ain't dancing with you tonight.
Right. Well, and Chris gave a few suggestions, and Colby is feeding on a schedule 3, sometimes 4 times a day. Colby, I just want to make sure I did get it right. Are you saying that it's every other day? Is it a consistent, like he eats a lot one day and then not the next, and then he eats a lot and then not the next? Is it like that, or is it just random? And is it a full day that he's not eating? And could he be eating when you're not looking? I know that when I feed, I walk away and give him time and stuff, and then I go back and I clean up anything left over. But if maybe he is the type that doesn't want to eat around others.
I go in and sit on a salt
answer those
bucket
questions,
and watch them and count, make sure everybody's eating.
You do?
Yep.
You said you what? You what?
I do that too. Sometimes I get sneaky and look around the corner.
I'll go in and sit down I'll feed them, and I sit on a salt bucket because it makes me really small. They can't really see me, and I'll sit there because I always make sure everybody is eating, and no weak snicks or problems like that.
Gotcha. And you can read what Colby said. I got it wrong. He got the seahorses 3 months ago. He's been pregnant and delivered twice since then. Gotcha. So maybe he's pregnant. That could be part of it, depending on the last time he gave birth for you. And wow, 3 months. See, the only reason I'm even concerned is that that's kind of the point when things are going downhill. Like if something's wrong, things start going downhill about 3 months. But yeah, just and no, it's not a problem when we get confused about what you're saying. It's hard because you're typing and I can sit here and bump my gums. So no worries, and just correct me when I'm wrong. But I'm gonna ask Dan too on the side, just because I can't think of a good suggestion for you, which really sucks. I'm sorry. We're here to help. And
I would watch for other symptoms of things like signs of bacterial infection, that kind of thing. But it might just be the way he is, because I have a male seahorse that eats like that.
The thing is, too, when they're pregnant, they definitely hide a lot more. And the farther they get in their pregnancy until just a few days before they deliver, you may have a hard time even finding them sometimes at a tank when they're getting close. So it's just the males definitely their behavior is definitely a little different than the females.
See, and Cheryl has been doing this for 2,500 years, so I'd listen to her for sure. But I personally, and I'm definitely not trying to make you think there's something wrong, because there's probably not. I just have never. The one question I hope you will answer when you have a sec is it consistent? Is he eats a lot one day and not the next, and like on and on and on? Or is it just random one day he doesn't eat? Or, is it the whole day is my real question. Because I've had picky seahorses. That's another suggestion if you want, is that I've had some really picky seahorses. Usually they were other species like Barbori. But I've had to, and Reed-eye were picky for me too, the 2 I had. But I would use a turkey baster to literally target feed them. Like feed the other seahorses if you have a dish or wherever else you do, or if you broadcast feed, but lower the flow, and wherever he's at, literally put the food right in front of him one at a time. It's a pain in the butt, but that's how I fed my Barbori.
Yeah, I don't use a turkey baster, but what I do is, I've got a male right now that all of a sudden, he normally was the big bruiser coming out first thing. And it looks like he's pregnant, and all of a sudden he's kind of hanging back and watching everybody else. And so I'll drop food in over the top of his head so he doesn't have to really
Move.
get into the whole melee of everybody snicking food all at once.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's eating fine, but I definitely tend to target feed him a bit more right now because of his behavior. I mean, and he's fat, he's happy, he's swimming, and he has no marks or anything. It's not like I'm worried about him because I know what he's doing.
Well, that was the only other concern for me, is that in one of the comments he said that the Seahorse has never been a fat boy. Like, he's always looked a little caved in. And that kind of, I mean, I don't know. But I will say too, adding on to what Cheryl just said about them not wanting to get in the Seahorse wrestling match. In my tank with only 3 Seahorses, Aphrodite doesn't like to come and eat with the rest anymore because they jump on each other. They you'll see the male on a female's head, and Aphrodite's like, I'm not game. So I kind of do that with her. She gets to eat on the side, because she does.
Yeah.
They don't like, some Seahorses don't like to be manhandled by the other. And even when she does come out because she's really hungry, when they start jumping on her, she's out. She, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
So.
And I noticed he says, yes, it is every other day. It's like a schedule, kind of like he'll eat a ton one day. And then I know that when the next day comes around, he won't show his face. And that's kind of, Dandy is kind of like that. I kind of spoil him. He's my Seahorse that has, trouble swimming, some kind of neurology problem. But the way he eats, he doesn't like to eat with the other Seahorses really, because he has trouble moving around. Yeah. So he'll show up after I've already served a meal. And so a lot of times I'll give him his own meal when I see he comes to the dish to eat. Or if I notice him on a day that maybe he's not feeling like swimming across the tank to a dish, I'll target feed him with the turkey baster where he's at. But he's kind of spoiled that way. They get that way. They learn, and then they start training you.
Well,
okay. Well, wait. Let's read his comments, because he said the female won't eat unless her tail is wrapped around your finger.
Yeah,
that's cute. You think that's cute? Wait till you want to go on vacation. But anyways,
yeah.
But that's very interesting. I've never had that where they're more in contact with a human. That's really interesting and cool. But wait, I want to get to, the male does not like the baster. So you're saying that on the day that the male does not eat, the female will come up, wrap around your finger, and you feed her, and you just don't see the male. Is kind of what I think you're saying. And let me put his last comment up, and I see your comment, Francis. He wants the food to be on the sand bed. Huh. Also found he eats better when the lights are dim and no one is around. So it probably really does sound like it's just him. Yeah.
I'm going to give you a quick story. Just a couple years after I started keeping Seahorses, and I bought several youngsters from Draco Marine. And there was one female. She would refuse to feed when everybody else was in the mosh pit fighting for food. And I got really worried about her. So I started feeding her in the back left-hand corner. And I would target feeding her using a barbecue skewer, and putting mice on it and wiggling it and getting her to eat food. The day I knew I'd been had, she was in the right front corner. And she would never go anywhere near the other Seahorses. She was in the right front corner of the tank. She saw me starting to walk up to the tank and made a beeline right through everybody to the back left-hand corner of the tank. Now,
she had you trained? Right.
Well, that's my play sheet.
Well, it sounds like Colby's Seahorses are training him, I'm assuming. I hope it's him. But that's funny. And that's why I said it takes like us asking 5 million questions to kind of get down to whatever's going on, because figuring out that he eats better when the lights are dim and no one's around, it could be your lighting. The lighting could be too bright or something like that. Or it could just be the Seahorse. I would think that what Holly said to begin with is the best advice. Look for any other symptoms. As long as he's not turning dark or you can, once you get used to your seahorses, you can kind of tell when they're pissed off. You know what I mean? When they're not happy, when something's wrong. If you see anything, or if when he eats, he's not able to eat it or spits back out or something, any of those kind of symptoms, come back and we can
That's
help you
different.
further with that. But at this point, I really kind of feel like, and he said they're captive bred northern seahorses. Now, see, that's another thing, is I've always never kept the northern species. I know they give birth more often, their gestation period's lower, and I don't know their habits because I've always kept the, I guess, southern, I don't know, regular.
Other,
The Southerns are the big bruisers.
They're the ones that Dan always says you
Yeah.
can't walk by with a peanut butter sandwich because they're trying to snick it on your hand.
Yeah.
But that's what I've kept. So
The Northerns are their bodies are much broader in proportion to their length, and they typically have much longer tails. But behaviorally, they seem to be a lot more low key. The ones that I've always had, they just, it's like, I'll get there tomorrow. Manana.
well,
And they're just really low key compared to the Southerns. It always
so
amazes me.
right. So since that thank you for sharing that, because that's probably a key part of this, is that they're northerns. They're not technically a different species, but their behaviors are a bit different. So yeah, I would say you have a really cool thing. You should do a bunch of videos of the female eating off your finger. And unless the male shows symptoms of any other problems, I think it's just him.
The female that trained me to feed her in the back corner was a northern.
Yep. See? So, I mean, if he...
One more quick funny story.
Okay, hurry, because Francis has a question. Go ahead.
Okay. My combs, male and female, are dancing. And another male comes in and tries to get into the dance routine. I've only seen this one time. The female grabbed him and put him on the substrate and held him there. I guess she made a point.
Well, Colby, thank you so much for watching the videos. I need to redo a bunch of them. They're kind of old, but I believe you that you would know if something was wrong, especially if you've been listening to us, right? Just kidding. But no, once you keep, I know it's your first time keeping them, but after 3 months, you get a feel of, when there's something wrong. So I think you're okay, but, wait. Wait.
Oh, we had to do
emphysema. You had to do surgery on him a couple weeks ago. He has gas emphysema. Oh gosh. And I actually have a video on how to do that too. I just haven't posted it yet, but I'm very curious. Let me know how that goes for you in the future, because I am admitting here right now that I've had 3 seahorses in my entire seahorse career that got pouch emphysema. Okay. And only one of them ever truly never had it again. The first 2, I had to keep doing not surgeries, but getting the gas out. I know. I know, but I'm just admitting it. You guys don't feel bad if it happens to you, because
it happens.
He said he saw
the
video, and that's what he did. He watched your video.
Yeah, I think. Well, he watched the live.
That's wonderful.
Yes, that's why we're here. We hope to help, but definitely, even when it's water quality, though, in my case, it would be the strangest thing, because I'd have 7 seahorses in the tank, and it was properly stocked. It wasn't overstocked, and yet only one male would continue to have the problem. So that's why I've always been like, are they just stronger, or some just better? I don't know, but
I haven't seen.
I think some are just more sensitive to bacterial, but it's sign of water quality issues, but some are more sensitive to it than others, I think. And that's why, like, I had my seahorse Sandy, about a year ago, that was having those problems, and I lost him to a bacterial infection.
So,
and I haven't lost any other seahorses to that, other than Thing 2 came back to me, with it, and I'm treating him for that now, but they're prone to that.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, something as seahorse keepers we always need to be careful of, and watch for and work on the prevention of it, because
That's easier than trying to cure it.
Well,
the cure
Wait,
is
wait, wait,
really
wait.
hard and not easy to
So
work.
real quick, Daniel, I see your comment. Francis, I haven't forgot you. We're going to finish this part and then we're going to get right to those two questions. But Cheryl, my only thing was, and okay, so for Colby, one other thing, I believe you that you would know if something was wrong. If you did have to do the pouch emphysema, I want to know from you later if he ever has the trouble again. I hope he does not. But one thing, another suggestion might be up your water changes. I'm not saying you're not doing enough, but it usually does stem down to water quality. And as I admitted, it's happened to me multiple times. So no judgment, but maybe when a seahorse starts getting pouch emphysema, it's usually you need a better skimmer, you need to do better water changes, something like that. And then Cheryl, I just wanted to ask you, have you ever had a seahorse get pouch emphysema and then just by evacuating the gas and then fixing the water or whatever, he never had it again?
yes.
Okay, I've only had one seahorse that I was able to do that with.
The thing is, I have seen that, and I know enough now that it's excess buildup of dissolved organics that's causing it. And I run very large skimmers, we're rated for 3 times, or I'm sorry, 3 times the total water volume, and that makes a big difference. However, I did years ago pick up some male and female combs from a well-known breeder that raised them. And she advised me that her male, the father, had recurring problems with PE. This male, every time I turned around, he was getting PE. And she ultimately euthanized all the males that she had left because they were all, there was obviously something, it was too coincidental, so to speak.
Something with her males.
Finally, and she ultimately donated the females then to an aquarium, a state aquarium. And it's one of those things where, yes, it can be environmental, but it's like with anything, there's going to be certain individuals that are extremely sensitive to even slight changes. And I'm the one that when I see a seahorse with PE, I'm going to evacuate the pouch, but he's also going to get a load of antibiotics put back in the pouch.
Mm-hmm. And what, real quick, what antibiotic do you use when you do a pouch flush with antibiotic?
I'm sorry?
What antibiotic do you use to do the antibiotic pouch flush?
I was using Puran 2 at the time. I haven't seen PE since 2011, 2012.
I hate when people say that. It's easy for you to say. Everybody has it when they're first starting with seahorses, or not everybody, but it's just much easier until you get into the flow. And I think Colby has it down. He said his skimmer was in the break-in period. I bet you're right. Glad you're keeping the macros.
Sense.
Just keep us updated, because if there is a problem, we want to try to help. And if there's not a problem, we want to know and share your story. And a couple questions before I go to the other 2 questions from Francis and Maria and Daniel. I'm getting behind, sorry. But do you guys like the video better if I show the chat? So it won't show what's already been typed, but it would be like this. So it would show up on the side. Is that good, or now we don't need it? Let me know in the comments. And then also, I'm sorry that Cheryl's face is covered with Whisperer. I can't actually move the graphics once we're live. So just move.
I'm Wednesday Whisperer.
You're peeking out. But sorry.
Scoot over.
I mean, just the people on Instagram would probably think we're all nuts because they're seeing half my face, half Cheryl's, and all Holly. But anyways, okay. All right, let's Colby, keep us updated, but I really appreciate all your support and watching the videos and stuff, and I hope they help you. And please come in. That was my other question for the whole group. Would you guys want to have an option to jump in with us? Like if you're trying to show us your seahorse or your tank or something like that, all you have to do is contact me or anybody here and let us know, and we can provide you a link so you could actually be in the video with us and show what's going on. You know, it's a lot easier to not Colby, I'm not saying you have a problem, but if someone did have a problem, it's a lot easier to diagnose if they show us. You know what I mean? Literally while we're live.
Did you see the post I just put on Seahorse Sources group? about we're seeing a huge uptick after the holidays with 6 seahorses.
Yeah.
And I put in there,
Mhm.
please post pictures, give us, and I made put out a whole list of information that we needed to be able to effectively and quickly diagnose because we're getting slammed with 6 seahorses right now.
Right.
That, and I put in there that you go to the more section at the top of the group, click on files,
Wiles,
and
yeah.
there's a ton of information in there about how to treat different things.
Yep, definitely go to that file section. And that's like kind of what I was trying to explain here too, is
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
even I am very cautious about giving an automatic answer. Like if someone asks,
Yeah.
my seahorse is choking up food, what does that mean? Wait a minute. Nope. I've got to know what size tank is he in, what's the equipment,
Mhm.
what's your water change schedule, when did this start, how long have you had, there's we don't mean to but it's just like if I hadn't known they were northern, that changed my answer completely. But
It's like going to a doctor and saying, "My stomach hurts."
right, they got to ask you a
Did
hundred
you
million
eat?
questions.
What did you eat last night for dinner?
Right,
How long has this been going on?
right.
What other problems have you had? Are you running a temperature? And
Well,
then they're going to examine your belly,
yeah.
and which we can't do. But the thing is, the more information we have, the better we can help.
Well, and I just want to say, when I first started with seahorses, my really quick story before we are getting to these questions, I promise, is that when I called Dan, or when I tried to order seahorses from Seahorse Source the very first time, and they wouldn't take my credit card online, I had to call them, and it was like, what the hell?
Because
This is
Dan
not
wanted
how
to
business.
double check and make sure you
Hang
knew what
on,
you
hang
were
on.
doing.
And I called, and then Dan, actually, it was his wife, Abby, started asking me a million questions. And my instant reaction was, I'm just trying to buy seahorses. You don't get to ask me,
Yeah.
But now I realize they're just trying to make sure that you don't fail. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it was a really good learning experience. So please don't ever think nobody's ever going to judge here. I promise you that, not on this channel. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that the option to jump into the video and like be on video where you can show us the seahorses or whatnot is available. And if you don't want to show your face, you can turn off the camera and just have your audio. But that's
Yeah.
a lot easier than having to type the questions. So just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure everybody knew that. And go say what you want to say because I got to go to the next question. We got
Go
5
to
minutes.
the next question. I'm
Okay,
just saying
sorry.
I agree with you completely.
Yes, absolutely. So, hi, what does black poop signify? And we want to know the complete update, Francis, on what's going on with the tiger tail.
Normally, depending on what they're eating, it's going to be a dark purple. It can be a blackish color associated with possibly slight discoloration of antibiotics. I have seen seahorse poo ranging from beige to brown to black to purple and everything in between. A lot of it has to do with what they're eating and how they're metabolizing it.
But it's not a sign of danger.
I'm sorry?
It's not a sign of danger. It's not a sign of.
I would be more concerned if it was white.
Oh, right. Because white means worms, right?
White means either they got internal parasites or they flat out aren't eating.
Right.
And they'll
Watch
just,
out for white poop.
yeah.
And Francis, I'm going to jump to the next question unless Holly has something to say, but type more or jump in if you want. I think I already gave you a link, or I can if you want one. But we definitely want an update on Cheryl, can you briefly tell anybody who wasn't here in the previous weeks what's going on with the tiger tail? Because you've talked to Francis so much.
Well, the thing is, what he's got is one male, or I'm not sure it's a male. He's got one that's doing very well, and one that he's been having trouble with that was dropping weight and having other issues. And we're working on trying to patch that one back up. Unfortunately, the tiger tails, well, they came from a source here in the U.S. However, that source is not noted for passing on good-sized, healthy seahorses.
Okay.
And so he is behind the 8 ball in terms of trying to keep them alive because they're being sold way too young and way too small.
But you did say Francis is doing an amazing job
Oh, yeah,
trying to help these seahorses.
absolutely. The fact that they're still alive is an amazing job.
And what's I'm so sorry. I talk to so many people. I just get it's not that I don't care. I just forget what exactly is he doing currently. So when he updates us, I'll know what we're doing.
I'm trying to think back. It's been a
I
few
know
days
you talk to so many people too. I know. I'm
I
sorry.
know. It's like, wait a minute. Which one are you? Which seahorses are yours?
Francis, we do care, but please just update us and remind us, what you're currently doing and how it's gone, if you
I
could.
believe he's treating with antibiotics now.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And I'm still here when my black goes. I just have children running in and out and things going on. So I'm still here. I'll be back in a second, though, visually.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to.
And Colby was asking where to go with future questions. So maybe if you could put a link for the Seahorse source
Group, yeah.
group on, yeah.
I'll do that in just a second. And I will do that.
More
Colby,
6
in just a second.
seahorses this week.
Lots of experts on there like Cheryl.
Yes, Seahorse Sources group is amazing.
Been helping me forever. Cheryl and Ray. I saw Ray on here earlier.
He's
Ray
Ford?
Ray's here.
Wait. Ray just had to watch a game, so he couldn't be visually here because he was watching.
He's not visually here, but he's here in the background because I saw him comment.
Yes, he was commenting on how great
Ray
you've done.
An expert too.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Ray and Cheryl and Dan and you. Yeah, we got lots of help on that
all of
side.
us, yes. And the other thing is that, again, you can jump into Wine Wednesday anytime you want. And don't forget, anyone new to Seahorses should definitely search for the Wine Wednesday that was 2 weeks ago. It's titled Ask Seahorse Source. So go, search that in YouTube or whatever. And he goes through the basics. And then he's coming back on the first Wednesday in February. I think it's the 5th. And he's going to do more intermediate questions like about probiotics and medications. And then he's going to come back the next month and do one on breeding and the detailed, extensive questions. So ask any more questions you want. And we always welcome you here, but definitely I'm going to put a link to Seahorse Sources group.
I wish I lived in Florida right now. I'd be all over that one.
Yeah, read that, Cheryl, while I'm getting the link.
I'm not saying that. I'm the nut
me.
that just. Let's put it this way: I've gotten driven as far as Dallas, which is a 5-hour one-way drive from my house, to adopt.
Okay, so the question was what? Read it. I'm over here trying to get the link.
Anyone in South Florida know anyone who would want seahorse babies? My male is huge and ready to give birth.
Okay, first of all, I'm back, and second of all, do you ship, Daniel? Because I'd take them. My male will not get pregnant. Dang it, he can't figure out the spin. But yeah, are you willing to ship? And anyone who's in Florida, jump up. He's wanting to give some babies away.
I wonder if Lucy would
Speaking
take
of
them in.
babies, my peppermint shrimp had babies for the first time the other day. There was baby peppermint shrimp all over my tank, and
Send
nobody
some to
would eat
me.
They wouldn't?
Well, next time, can you ship them? Like, can I throw them in a bottle and send them?
Yeah.
Like we do baby seahorses? Next time I'll let you know, because I am not going to do anything with them. Nothing in my tank would eat them.
My
I don't have
seahorses
baby
ate them.
seahorses.
It was a feed fest.
My seahorses looked at them. Were looking around like, what the heck is going on?
I'll tell you
here?
what.
Not even my goby would eat them. I thought for sure I have a goby. I thought the goby would eat them, and he didn't go for him either.
Wow.
I don't think even the peppermint shrimp ate their babies.
I got an orange female that I could guarantee you would make short order of any peppermint shrimp. That my live food queen,
Mhm. That's what, like Lucy's
So
seahorse.
they were too tiny. They were looking at him. Their eyes were like watching him, and they're like, "What the heck is that?"
They would have been gone in a heartbeat in one of my tanks. They
Yep.
would not have lasted more than a couple of minutes.
Heather says her adults won't eat them. Her adult seahorses won't eat them either, but the fry will. She feeds them to her fry.
I know, you guys. I know I'm way behind on the comments. I'm trying to catch up. Holly's way ahead of me. I gotta show the comments in previous, but definitely, my larger seahorses ate them. They went crazy, snicking. But that's interesting. See, it just shows that seahorses are so different. You know, depending on the tank, depending on what they're doing. But that's interesting that the fry eat them. So Holly, maybe you should keep them. Well, they wouldn't stay small for long enough.
I can't raise them. I looked them up, and we think baby seahorses are labor intensive.
Oh yeah.
Peppermint shrimp raising. I'm like, nope.
Well,
not good.
If Chris Carey is still here, that's what, try the peppermint.
That's his thing. I thought of him when I had the baby shrimp. I'm like, oh, I wish I could give them to Chris.
Yeah.
Because I looked online to see what it took to raise them. They're more complicated than the seahorse fry. I'm like, labor intensive, I'll say. I'm like, no.
Yeah, but you're doing really well raising amphipods, aren't you?
The amphipods are fine. I don't do anything with them, though. I mean, I give them a little flake food. I forget now and then to check for a while I was having problems with their water was evaporating. The salinity was off the chart. So I poured some fresh water in there for them, and
with a little bit
they're
of
not
a
very
vodka.
labor intensive, I'm finding. Yeah, so they're still alive. Every once in a while I have to check and see if they're still alive, and they are.
Well, I'm feeding mine out regularly, and every time I turn, you know what I feed mine?
You feed yours the leftover shrimp that you vacuum out of your tanks, right? The mysis.
There
Leftovers.
You go.
Yeah.
It's pretty smart.
I'm feeding mine the flake food that I use in my freshwater tank. I just give them a tiny bit of that. And I've been remembering, I feed them every day. I feed them a little pinch, but I'm busy all the time and I don't check the parameters on their water very often. And in the very beginning, well, they're in a Tupperware tub is what they live in. And I set it up with a sponge filter from the sump of my grow out tank is their filtration. And at first they were getting ammonia readings, like the 0.25. So change their water, and eventually it cycled and it's fine. And I can go forever without an ammonia reading now. So they haven't had a water change in a few weeks, but it looks clean. And they're eating, they're alive, and their salinity goes way off the chart sometimes. And I put fresh water in for them, and
they're hardy.
They must be hard. I haven't killed them yet.
I put mine in a nursery tub, a fry nursery tub. Set it up with everything, the sleeve and the whole 9 yards. Well, then I started realizing that I was getting quite a few of the little bitty ones in the filter socks, which was fine. Fish them out, throw them back in. Then I looked in the other nursery tub because I have 2 tubs plumbed into one 29-gallon sump.
You can see that on my interview with Cheryl. Search interview with Cheryl on YouTube. Go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, so guess what's now all of a sudden started propagating in the other nursery tub? More amphipods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
they're hardy. I'm finding I have to look for them. They're the best at hiding. Oh my gosh!
What I do is I just add
I
add a little lump of frozen mysis up out of the water, so they all have to come out of the water to eat.
Oh, that's smart.
Then I just take a net and go.
Yep.
And I'm done.
Great idea.
Oh,
you know what, you guys? You need to, one of these days that we can chat about it, you need to show us, like, take your computer, take your camera, whatever, and take it in there and show it. Or have the video or pictures ready to screen share to show us how you've got it set up. And definitely go check out Cheryl's video. I'll try to link that in the comments when we're done too. My last comment to Daniel was, if I were you, you can't post about sale of seahorses or even giving away seahorses in a group, but you could go, Cheryl, help me with this. What could he say in Seahorse Sources group?
How to say
Because
it.
that's the best place that I would advise you to go to find someone who wants the babies. If you're not willing to ship, because if you're willing to ship, just call me. But if you're not and you're looking for someone in Florida, what could he say that's not against the rules, Cheryl?
I have some baby seahorses that are due anytime. I'm not sure how to raise them. Can somebody give me a call that can help?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
even let me think on it. I'll try to think of something else to say. You cannot go in to a Facebook group and say, and I'm selling these babies,
Mhm.
or I don't even think they can say I'm giving these babies away.
They have
Nothing
a ban
in pet
on
trade.
sales, trades, or
Interesting.
adoptions. That's
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah.
So let me think on it, on what you could say, but I would definitely tell you that is the group to go into. You could even peruse, and see people that are trying to breed, and most of them would take them if they're in Florida. But I'll try to think of a better way to say it by the end of the show. But Maria, guys, we got to move on to the next question. I'm so far behind. Maria said, "So sorry I missed last week." Oh, I'm sorry. She wants some encouragement, and then she has something else down below. Hang on. Your tanks. First of all, Maria, what was I? Okay, I should have paid more attention to the first one. All right, sorry. So you're mourning the loss of your guy who had a brain injury. He started acting weird and died two days later. Wow, a brain injury in a seahorse? I've never heard of that, but that's terrible. I'm so sorry. How does that happen, Cheryl? Like, do they get knocked, or I'm trying to.
I lost a seahorse once in a tank accident. She got pinned under a rock. So I'm wondering if I mean, they don't say what caused the brain injury, but they can have stuff physically happen to them, I'm sure. So that maybe was what.
Well, and all I would say is, as far as encouragement,
That's bad.
please don't give up, because I know how much it sucks to lose a seahorse. Believe me, when my Barbori,
He hit his head on rocks, she said.
When I went on vacation, I've told this story before, but when I went on vacation the first time a few years ago, and my precious, beloved Barbori were one of the tanks I had multiple tanks. My mother-in-law was coming over to feed them, and she did a great job the entire week. And then the very last day, if I had gotten home like an hour earlier, it would have been fine. But she forgot to turn the filtration back on, and when I got home, they were passed. And I literally called Dan just bawling, and it was so terrible. I understand how hard it is to lose a seahorse, but I'm here to tell you it's happened to all of us. Nobody here has not lost a seahorse, and it sucks, but please don't give up. And you're doing the right thing with the proper water quality intent. So I hope that was help as encouragement. I feel for you. I hate that. That sucks.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I lost one tragically like that too. Like one of my first ones. It was Dandy's mate. Actually, that I had the pair, they came together. I had Dandy and Brandy, and I was cleaning the tank one day. She didn't come to dinner. I didn't notice when I was cleaning the tank. Basically, a rock got disturbed and pinned her, and she had passed by the time I found her, much later
They
on.
get themselves into some weird predicaments sometimes.
Well, and that's actually kind of a vote for artificial stuff, and making sure the artificial stuff is big enough. And like in my rock sculptures, there's always a chance the rock can fall, and that's not safe, not good. Plus, the seahorses turn the color of the rocks with me every dang time. But anyways, we feel terrible, Maria. Please
Well,
keep coming back. Please keep going.
yeah, this is one of the reasons that basically all my tanks are bare bottom. All my hitches are artificial. And I mean, the soft plow ones, they're nice and squishy for their tails that they like. But it's one of those things where I've seen and heard of enough disasters with tanks. I'm just, I don't do things, there's virtually nothing that I do now the way I did when I started.
Right. And then Colby asked also, do you have any socials if you need to ask more questions? I'm the Seahorse Whisperer on Facebook, and we put the link to the Seahorse Sources group on Facebook. And I'm, just search Cheryl or Holly. I'm sure we'll. And there's another group too. Cheryl, what's the other good group that you manage? Cheryl, what's the other good group that you manage on Facebook?
Seahorse Sources group.
And the other one?
I'm on what's Marty's group?
Well, I was talking about Alyssa's.
Oh, Seahorses Help and Advice.
That's
or
one.
Something. That's the one. I can't remember the names of them
my
all.
problem is I'm on so many of them anymore. I don't even remember the names. I just click on it when somebody has a question or when something pops up.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna back. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait, guys. We can't all talk at once. I'm gonna backtrack and say, never mind. Don't look up all the Seahorse groups because I think that is a negative thing. I really do, because when someone goes to 4 different groups and asks the same question, they're going to get 500 different answers and not know what's right. So I backtrack. Go to Seahorse Sources group. That's it. That's my advice.
Well, yeah.
I use that actually for all my advice on, when you're thinking something is wrong. Seahorse Source is the best for that. I found, and the easiest to search for answers.
I'm on Alicia's group. I'm an admin on Alicia's group also. Quite frankly, I tend to forget. I just pull them up as they come in.
Yeah, I belong to a lot of groups too, but honestly, out of all the groups, I think Seahorse Source is the easiest and the quickest to get help from.
And they have all the pros that are going to give you the good advice. So definitely, I mean, everybody's there. So that's the group I would advise. And I'm sorry we're jumping around, but it's getting late and I want to get through the questions. So Francis also responded and said, I would observe twitches. He paled considerably. Do combs change color, Cheryl?
Hold on. I'm not sure how to identify its progress. Can you get a picture of him doing this? And let me take a look at it. Normally when they start twitching, it has to do with discomfort, possibly parasites, possibly in the gills or oral cavity, or on other parts of their body. It might be worthwhile to actually do a short-term formalin bath on him, but I need to get more information from you before I want to advise you to do that.
Absolutely. And the other thing would be, like, diagnosis-wise, a freshwater dip. But again, you should give more information to Cheryl first.
Yes, I don't do freshwater dips anymore because I guess at this point, I'm at the point for me, I can take a look and know exactly what I'm seeing if it's one of mine. But I'd still recommend using it as a diagnostic tool for most people because the problem with the formalin is it can kill. And it's also a known carcinogen. So when you're handling it, you really need to be very careful, wear gloves, the whole 9 yards.
And there's a file section in Seahorse Sources group that covers this. And we've talked about it multiple times here, but we can talk about it again. But just to say, Dan definitely recommends freshwater dips first. Cheryl, what I'm trying to say is Cheryl's a pro. So when you hear Cheryl say something that she does, remember that she's been doing this a long time. If you can share the information with her, she can give you an exact answer and help you along the way. But if you're not able to, freshwater dips still work. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, the thing is, and I posted on Seahorse Source earlier because we are getting so many sick seahorses after the holidays. And I put in there, please post a picture if you can. Give
Video's
us
better.
all the information you possibly can gather, where the seahorse came from, how long it's been going on, what it's doing, are there any lesions, is there any skin discoloration, the whole 9 yards. Because I'm at the point right now with so much coming in.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble keeping up because then I have to ask multiple questions and we keep going back and forth. And if you put it all together initially, then I'll have a lot less questions I need to have answered, and it'll really help me get to you quicker.
And that's why the perfect answer is to just jump into Wine Wednesday and show us on video, show us live. No, I know people aren't always comfortable with that, but you're always welcome. And definitely get Cheryl a picture. And feel free to send it to me too. I'm not as experienced as her, but I can try to help for sure. And the last thing on that, Cheryl, is how do you identify progress?
How do you identify what?
Progress when a seahorse is sick.
How to identify progress?
Progress. Like, how do you know the seahorse is getting better? If a seahorse is sick, how do you know it's getting better? I know that's a very wide question.
Yeah.
I'm learning that too. Cheryl's been helping me with that, with things too, because I have a hard time telling.
It depends on what was wrong to begin with. Seahorse has a weak snick, and I do a short-term formalin bath, and I put them back in the tank, and that evening they're swallowing whole mysis. I did what I needed to do. And I'm cool. I'm cool with that. If I'm looking at a seahorse that I believe has vibrio lesions, and in 24 hours they haven't tripled in size because the person started them on the antibiotics, it's working. But it's knowing what to expect when things go wrong. And when things go right, you can look at it and say, okay, this is working. Because you know how fast it's a combination of knowing how fast it's going to spread and how bad it can get.
Absolutely. And then Francis asked another question. Would Rally Reef Pro be better than Nitrofuracan Green? I've never heard of either one of them. I'm literally Googling.
Okay, basically Nitrofuracan Green is a knockoff to Puran 2, since we can no longer get Puran 2.
Oh, okay.
Rally Reef Pro, I am not familiar with. I would have to look that up, Francis. Do you have any more information on what's in it?
I'm looking it up right now, y'all. Okay, here we go. Let me screen share real quick. I am going to get to the other questions. We won't stop till we get to all the questions, but we're going to try to push through them more quickly. Here we go. This is Rally Reef Pro. All right, let's see what it says. Oh, bulk reef supply never has a good description. Yeah, they do. Okay. Broad spectrum treatment for external fish parasites and pathogenic bacteria.
Have control
even works with dinos.
Okay,
wow.
Excellent. See, one thing that's happening now that API and things are getting pulled off the market, there's all these new ones popping up, and it's really hard to tell.
Because you haven't used them.
It's just copper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Here you go.
From extensive
Reef safe.
I like it. Doesn't harm the filtration.
Varieties, corals. Safe. Now, this also makes me a little concerned. Reef safe, including for scaleless varieties, corals, and invertebrates.
Why does that concern you?
How is it effective?
Right.
Is my
I get concerned when I see too many different genera.
Mm-hmm.
Something being safe for everything, so to speak.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to hurt. Notice the verbiage. It doesn't seem to hurt any of the SPS, LPS.
Well, look at the reviews, though. Can you guys see the review I'm showing?
Yeah, 1 star. People aren't liking it so far. I saw one good
Yeah.
one farther down.
So if you do try to use it, let us know. We can't recommend it, but and for the sake of YouTube, we don't recommend anything on this channel. We just share what we've done. But
A lot of times when I'm researching some of this stuff, I go to R2R.
reef to reef, yeah.
I'm putting one in our comments right now that I found out about from a koi person, and Cheryl didn't know anything about it, so I wanted to run it by the group. I just typed it in the private chat.
Okay. Wait.
It's a dip. It's an antibiotic dip that they use for koi. I couldn't find out really much about it, so wanted to run it by the Seahorse community, see if anybody who does fish knows about it, what it is, or if it's something that could help.
Okay, hang on. I'm trying to look it up. Is this it?
It's about
Let's see if I've got it right. And Francis, I'm going to share your video in just a second. But is this what it is?
so people who do other fish, not seahorses, might know about it.
Okay, Triside Neo.
It's mhm. And I think I ran it by you, Cheryl, but you weren't familiar with it.
Yeah,
really.
scroll down a little
Okay,
farther.
I will. It breaks the bacteria's resistant outer layer to allow the antibiotic to stop the bacteria. Okay, you want let's see. Is a dip to aid in the treatment of superficial bacteria infections such as ulcer disease.
Yeah, so like it's like for when I mentioned to somebody that was out of the debride, she said Triside Neo was something that she uses.
The debride lady said
And that's
that?
a koi person. Well, not the lady I bought the debride from. Well, the person I talked to that I was talking about earlier is not the person I bought the debride from. They're the manufacturer.
Okay,
So
this
when I
Triside
tried to
Neo.
order the debride, I talked to a koi person,
Yeah.
and she was trying to help me with other medications that might work, but she doesn't know anything about seahorses, right? So she gave me a couple names of things that she uses for the koi. And Triside Neo, from what I read about, it's a dip, like for 5 to 7 minutes. It's not something you leave them in the tank with. And it's for koi, it's freshwater. So I don't know if it's even something we could use. I'm just trying to find antibiotics that will work since we're running out of options,
Yeah.
you know?
The thing is with this, first of all, this is being sold by Pentair. Pentair has been around for longer than I have.
Yep.
And I do trust the quality of their products.
Yes. Agree.
Again, I don't know without getting more information as to exactly how it's being used and how to use it, what the efficacy would be depending on what they're battling. But whatever it is, it's definitely something that I would look into.
Well, and we do need to find replacements for the medications that are going to be off the market soon or already are. But don't forget, guys, 5th of February, the first Wednesday in February, Dan is doing his research now to share with us.
Yeah, so I thought I'd submit that. Maybe he knows something about it or can look it up. There's another thing that she mentioned to me. I don't know if I spelled it right. It's praziquantel.
Prazi.
Prazi. Okay, yeah, that's what she said too. And then she
that
spelled
would,
it for
wait.
me. So is that something we can use or not?
Yes, we can use it.
What do you know about it?
We can use it, but it wouldn't replace Furon 2. I'm sorry if I'm not following the conversation, but it
no, just wondering if it's a medication we use and what would we use it for? Is it antibacterial or what type of
the advantage of Furon 2 was twofold. It's a broad spectrum antibiotic that kills both positive and negative bacteria. But one of the primary reasons we really liked it and we found that it was very effective is it's one of the few antibiotics that we can gut load live food with and feed it directly to the seahorses, which helps get it in systemically rather than there's just having to be in the water. And it'd be like you go swimming in that pool to cure your mumps versus taking actual medication.
Right. And I would just answer your question. The one thing that I've known praziquantel to be used for is deworming. If you basically, it's part of the 3-part process if you had a wild caught seahorse. So,
Gotcha. So it's like an anti-parasite
right,
type
right.
thing.
So we'll add that question to ask Dan his
Yeah.
expert opinion too. But go ahead, Cheryl. Go ahead, Cheryl.
I was going to say, it's like if I tell you to go jump in that medicated pond or go sit in that medicated bath to fight a bacterial infection, you'd probably tell me I was an idiot, because I would be. But essentially, when we're using nothing but antibiotics in the water, that's essentially what we're doing to our seahorses. And that was one of the advantages of the Puran too, is we could gut load.
Okay, so go ahead, Holly. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay.
I was reading actually what Francis was saying.
All right. So his mail. Sorry, we're jumping around, guys. I'm just trying to get through this. We've been going almost 2 hours. So,
Francis,
but male and female were identified having cilia issues due to LFS display, and I want to share his video that he shared with me. One moment. Yeah, here we go. Because you asked to see something, Cheryl. So here you go.
Okay.
Oh, he is discolored.
Yeah. Let me watch this. I would actually, with these two, now it's coming back. I recognize this. I don't recognize names, but I recognize the seahorses.
Oh, look at the eyebrows.
Yeah. I would
So he has
seriously
eyebrows.
consider doing a short-term formalin bath on them.
Yeah.
The
And
way,
is this the flicking though? Because I don't really see flicking. I'm just curious. Go ahead, Cheryl.
scratching, she's rubbing.
Yeah, and her gills are a lot darker than the rest of her. Go ahead, Cheryl. You're the. Go ahead.
I'm thinking that the celiac issue, and the thing is, they were in real horrific conditions in the store that he got them from. So there's no telling what all they could have picked up along the way.
And that change of color is
that
that lightened color. That's just stress.
That's normal in combs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's very common in young combs. They tend to be white with darker markings, or dark with white markings.
Well, the formalin dip is in Seahorse Sources group under the file section. Do you suggest the short or long term?
That would be another alternative. And as young as they are and as debilitated they are, you could go ahead and treat them like you would in a fry tank and give them
yeah.
That might be a better way as young as they are, because I'm not sure that they would tolerate a formalin dip, a short-term bath.
And what do you remember? If you don't, it's okay. I think that's in the file section too. If not, we'll get it and put it in the comments. But what is the fry dosage? Is it how many a day? How many drops a day or whatever?
Okay, it depends on the size of the tank. Francis, what I'm going to do, I'm making a note. Give me a second.
I'm looking in my notes from when I was raising fry, because I have the formalin directions here.
Yeah, I could look it up too. Hang on, I'll try.
It's 1 milliliter for 10 gallons
Yeah, but
of the
that's for
37%
the short term bath.
for the rectus fry. That's how I treated my erectus fry. Every 3 days they got a milliliter in their 10-gallon tank.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I put Cheryl on the spot here. I'm looking for it in my.
No, that's okay. That was Dan's directions he gave me. So when I was raising fry, the way I did it was I think
Okay.
day 1, day 3, and day
Every
5 or something.
every other day.
Every other day for 3
Yeah,
days.
every other day for 3 treatments.
So I did 1 milliliter for 10 gallons is what I did.
Because I'm thinking these guys are so young and they've been through so much, they're not going to handle the.
Sorry, I keep
And it
switching around.
depends on your percent of the formaldehyde. If it's 37%, it's 1 milliliter for 10 gallon. If it's 10%, it's 10 milliliters
Yeah.
per 10 gallons. So it depends on your strength of your formaldehyde.
Well, Francis says
So 37% formalin is 1 milliliter for 10 gallons.
Yeah.
right, and I would just say that Francis has said he will come next week in person. Maybe we would love to have you. Please come. Get with me before then,
Awesome.
and we'll get you in here. And I can even ask if there's any way that Dan could come too to give his expert advice, just to show you guys real quick. Hang on, let me see if I can show you.
Is it in the files section?
Well,
Do
I
we have
just
that?
wanted to show you
Yes,
guys
it's in the
this.
file section.
Okay, real quick, I just wanted to show you guys. Look at all this: deworming, freshwater tips, frozen mysis, gut loading, hitchhikers, how to give seahorses a bath, treating bacterial. This is something Dan and I are working on for the website, so
Awesome.
it's coming.
Awesome.
I apologize it's taking so long, but please, we
So,
invite you to come
I
next week.
I have a ciliates question because I'm pretty sure I have ciliates in my display tank.
There's
where my
ciliates in
big
every
seahorses
tank.
are.
There's ciliates in
And
every
I'm pretty
tank.
sure they have them, and it's not like extreme, but I'm wondering, can you like you treat your dog or cat for fleas periodically? The thing is, I can't treat the tank because I'd kill the other things in it. And if I treat the seahorses and put them back in the tank, they're going to get ciliates again because of the other fish and they in there. So, can you like give a treatment and then return them to the tank? Is that beneficial to them, or should you just leave them alone? Like what?
It's
I mean,
beneficial to treat them. The problem that I have with formalin, and everybody needs to be aware of it, is because it is a known carcinogen. You have to take a lot of precautions for yourself when you're using it. And although there's nothing documented, I suspect, depending on the seahorse, it can have negative effects on them and down the road.
So do you think it's not worth it to really treat them unless they're having a really hard time? Like what's your opinion on that? Because I'm pretty sure they have them, but I see signs of it, but it's not like, it's like a dog with fleas. They're not dying from it
Yeah.
or whatever, but they're there. But I know if I treat them and put them back in the tank, they're going to get them right back.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. The thing is, how should I explain this? Ciliates are a protozoan parasite. They get into the gills and the oral cavity. When that happens, if the seahorse is in good condition, their bodies can fight back, and I'm not going to say eliminate the problem, but dramatically reduce the negative impact. The problem that arises is when the seahorse is becoming weakened, either due to an excess amount of parasites or other medical issues. That's where they get into problems with it. It's kind of like I have allergies. This time of year, we have cedar fever. I wake up every morning. all clogged up and feeling like, oh, I don't want to go to, but I know what to do. I know how to take my antihistamine, and I get back pretty quick. But if I was stupid and went running out in the snow and stuff like that, then I could probably end up really sick with the whole thing. And it's one of those things. It's a combination of tank cleaning, overall health of the seahorses. Diet can play a huge role in combating any kind of infections. And basically, in the case with seahorses, your water parameters.
Yeah, huge.
You're not going to get rid of them all, but you can certainly mitigate the damage that they can do.
Yep, that is the key.
That's
Having
right.
a skimmer that takes the crap out and doing water
Mhm.
changes. And I did add that.
So just try to keep up on the other stuff. Try to keep them as healthy as you can so they can deal with that.
Yep, spruce them up with good foods. Get good stuff into them. And Francis wants the whole chat. Okay. And yeah, everything Cheryl just said. And I did add that to the questions. So we'll ask Dan too, because we have so many experts and they always agree, but just to get
It's one of those
further
things.
info.
If you wanted to kill off every bacteria and virus and parasite, you would have to kill everything on Earth. Bottom line.
Right. Our tanks have so much crap in them. And I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at once, but I'm saying it would be like this. So basically you would see the whole thing, as say a couple more things, you would see it on the side. You like that better, Francis? Because it makes us smaller. I know you love our big faces, but anyways, we'll look at it. I'll probably have to redesign the overlay, but anyways, definitely we want you to come next week and share and ask questions live, and maybe show us or whatnot, and we'll keep working on the subject. And as for the ciliates, man, our tanks are so full of crap. I mean, I'm serious. You can't. Oh my gosh, Cheryl, didn't I read that there's Vibrio in every tank too? It's just maintaining the water parameters and maintaining the water quality that keeps it at bay.
Well, the thing is with Vibrio that you've got to remember, the key, it helps you respond to watches. Okay. Is Vibrio is ubiquitous. It's in the Gulf. It's, when you go into the Gulf and go swimming, you're swimming in Vibrio. We all know it. The difference is when it gets above 84 degrees is when it increases in virulence and becomes a true pathogen. So there's different stimuli that can push an organism to going from cohabitating with a host to actually killing a host. And that's just one example. With ciliates, it's one of those things when they become encysted in the tissue, in the gills and oral cavity, that's when they become a problem. Most of the time, it's not an issue. But again, it depends on the health of the individual.
Right. It always depends on the health of the individual. Dang, seahorses, why can't they all just be strong and burly?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you know people that are always sick and always coming down with stuff and just really always feel lousy. And then there's people that, well, I'm not going to let this little bug get me down. I'm going to just keep going.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be any different in seahorses.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to keep researching. Dan's researching right now for the next Ask Seahorse source to cover what medications can compensate for the lack of Furon 2 and such. But definitely, Francis, we all count, and let us know how the Rally Reef Pro or whatever it was and the other stuff works. And we'll ask about Holly's questions too.
Well, yeah, one thing I'm seeing with the antibiotics and stuff, it seems like FDA's targeted API because they're literally trying to pull the plug on all kinds of stuff.
Oh no.
Yet other companies are all of a sudden, if you type in the information, other companies are coming in saying this is, and they're using the same.
The equivalent.
Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with API and what the deal is there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, they've got all kinds of. They're having all kinds of problems getting. I mean, even sulfoplex, triple sulfa is no longer available.
Oh.
Sulfoplex and several others of the APIs are not available if you
Mhm.
try to buy them right now.
See, and they're still at
Yeah,
wait.
the
There's
ones I'm using are Seahorse.
they're still at my pet store, and it makes me want to go and buy them all up, but they expire.
Yeah.
But they have an
They expire.
expiration date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Holly, what were
Yeah.
you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was saying, well, I'm using the plexes. I have Sulfaplex and Canaplex is what thing 2 is in right now, and those are from Seachem,
Yeah.
I believe. And I just bought some more of the Canaplex, but I have like rows of the canisters of those because they do have an expiration date. It's like 2 years out though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I personally
Yeah.
have stuff that I've gone to try to use formalin, especially, and realized, oh shit, oh crap, it's expired.
Well, formalin goes fast,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
found
yeah.
out because Dan said once how to check, when you see white in
The
it.
crystals. Yeah.
And so I had bought a
Yeah.
thing of formalin when I was raising fry, and that was a year ago, and it went bad.
Well,
Right.
it's like
So I had to buy
Francis.
a bottle
Francis
just to
just
keep it
posted.
on
The
hand.
thing with inspired medications depends on the half life of the chemicals.
Mhm.
And that's, I mean, it's like coyote bitters, 1080 and 1099, cyanide. That stuff stays toxic for a prolonged period of time. It has a very long half life. It just depends. Diamox actually has a fairly long half life.
Good to know because I have some.
I've heard that.
But I don't know about, like, Puran 2, I don't know how long its efficacy really is.
Mhm.
Well, and I wonder if it's a big conspiracy, and Seachem's going to come out with a Furon 2,
Equivalent or something.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. One thing I think is going on because we talked about people buying fish medications to use for themselves. API is found everywhere. It's so common. Every fish store has it,
That may very
and I
well be.
think that is probably
Well,
the reason.
it's like I was talking with someone, and I told them that they needed to get some chloroquine phosphate to treat for uronema.
Right.
And a couple years ago, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I mean, easy enough to come by, and his vet refused to write the prescription for it. Why?
Right. Mine did too.
Because of COVID. I can virtually guarantee you 100%.
Oh, well, mine just refused. Said they had to see the seahorse and all
Because
that crap.
remember, that was one of the meds that everybody was taking.
Oh, right. No,
Yeah.
you're right.
And so now everybody's, it's under the radar, and everybody's like, no, we're not going to do this.
Okay, if I put the chat on the side, I'm not going to keep putting the questions down here because it doesn't make sense. But we'll try to work it out. But yes, Francis, the black poop was mentioned earlier. I think Cheryl said she's seen all colors poop. You're more worried about white
is
poop.
bad.
White is bad.
Yeah.
Black is, not great, but not a danger. And you got to look for the other symptoms. We know you're dealing with a huge challenge, and you're doing a great job. And can't wait for you to join us next week. I'm so excited. Sorry.
Also, I see that with thing 2 because his poop has been white, but it's starting to show more black in it and more poop.
Yay.
And so it's, but it's like I've mentioned earlier. I mean, I'm sure he was infected inside also.
Yeah.
I can see the outside, but I can't see the inside. So, but But yeah, he's a little fighter. That's the big difference, because I've dealt with bacterial infection before with my seahorse Sandy. Died of that after I treated him twice, months apart,
Right.
for that. And his thing though was he wouldn't eat.
Right. That's big.
He didn't have the zest for life that Thing 2 has. And even like today, Thing 2 is trying to figure out how to get out of that tank, how to get behind that curtain to get to where the heater is. He's over there like, what's behind here? He's
Interested. He's
he's
active.
he's a feisty little guy. Yeah,
If he ever has Fry, I want one of his kids.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, we can get him healthy again.
And I think I saw it.
Healthy, he's a strong little seahorse.
And I think I saw in the comments that Francis is trying to get Daniel's Seahorse fry in Florida. So go Francis.
Yeah, get in touch. Yeah.
Okay, guys, look. I went through a whole bottle. Pinot Grigio, because I was thinking of my friend Jessica Stam. Love you, miss ya. Can't wait to see you at the next Macna. But I'm going to have to call it for the night. Francis is apparently, I hope, wink, wink, going to be our guest next week. Get with me, Francis.
Nice.
And we'll cover all of this in more detail. And don't forget, the 5th of February, Dan will be back talking about all this stuff in detail. So for tonight, though, what were you going to say something, Cheryl?
I'm just saying, yeah, it's been a good night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's over.
Anytime somebody has a seahorse that was in the shape of Holly's that's turning the corner
She's amazing. Job. Yeah, she has done an amazing job. Congratulations,
Francis
Holly.
can talk about his subs.
Thanks to help.
What was it? Yeah. Oh, I keep asking you about them too. Geez, you have someone goddess?
Someone goddess.
I'm so jealous. Yes. So you're our guest next week. You got to get with me to get the link, and I'll show you how to do it. But definitely, so tune in next week to hear more from Francis and see his exotic species that none of us other people can get. But anyways, yeah, maybe we can get Chris in here too, because he's more familiar with those species.
Yeah, Chris was under the weather.
I know.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling good.
We still got to touch base with him soon. But anyways, for tonight, you guys, I just really appreciate everyone that comes. Thank you, Cheryl and Holly, for coming every week. Holly, congratulations on being a miracle worker. And, Heather, thank you so much for telling us about the bride.
It's the help.
Yeah.
It's us helping each other.
It's us helping each other. Exactly. And to that, we're going to say cheers and end it, but we'll be back next week. Nobody else has a glass, right? Holly, do you have a glass?
No,
okay.
I was grabbing mine. I dropped it.
All right.
Cheers.
Mine's empty.
Happy Wine Wednesday.